Vibrillionaire, Vibrillionex, soul, bliss, love, and greetings. Beautiful mirrors. Before we begin on this beautiful February 5th, 2025, I want to share with you how much all of life, all of humanity, all of nature, and all of the universe appreciate you. And what's happened up to this point has served immensely in this greatest reawakening that this human, even life story of this immense paradigm, that we get to be part of the greatest reawakening in the story of humanity. It's a human paradigm shift, not just a societal. We are in a human, universal paradigm shift. So thank you so much for every single one of you consciously contributing, even if you may not think you are. Your presence is appreciated, your presence is felt, and your presence is loved. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Fernie Cuts, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being here. So what I was inspired to share on this live today is the Super Bowl is coming on the weekend. And with over 122 million eyes, not just eyes, but identities, personalities that are going to be fixated collectively on one tube, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of consciousness. And when we ask ourselves, what is the return on investment of watching for 2 hours this entertainment? And much love and appreciation to those that have fulfilled their dreams of playing in the big leagues, of being so dedicated 5-6 days a week, sacrificing partying, sacrificing drinking, sacrificing smoking, sacrificing getting high, sacrificing having a family and having babies, sacrificing having friendships, because a lot of these athletes, they don't have a life outside of the gym. They don't have a life outside of the field. They don't have a life outside of their identity of what they have committed themselves to believe they are. Yet if we ask ourselves, when they have an injury, when their career is over, when they become of age where they can no longer play, why is it that most go to suicide? Why is it that most go to drugs? Why is it that most go to depression? They don't know what to do with this amazing piece of technology, which we call the brain. Yet there's a greater technology that we're going to be speaking on. So on February 9th, I'm inspired and been shaken to share that we're going to collectively gather together to make a shift that out of 122 million views, the goal is to have 122 beautiful universal beings come together. Because the small impact that we have to consciously love what is appearing to be the most unlovable parts of ourselves, and to open up to the mystery of the unknown, and to surrender that ego entitlement, that ego possession of this is who I am, like this person. For those of you doing that work, we thank you. We all thank you in advance. And for those of you even being alive, just existing, we thank you. However, we got to ask ourselves, if we are realizing what no longer serves us, we have a responsibility to act on what does serve, not just the little us, but the greater whole of humanity. And this is why I share this video. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the Super Bowl, if you're barely tuning in. We're talking about the Super Bowl, where I was part of the crowd, where I was a fanatic of a football team, and I would criticize and judge and demean other players that even though they were on the team that I loved, but I would demean them because I thought I had the entitlement to speak to them and say, look at you, you're a joke. What are you doing playing on the field? You don't even deserve to be on there. When these people dedicate 5 to 6 days a week. And while I was on the bed or on the couch watching a football game, really doing nothing with my life, drinking, getting high, judging and criticizing and complaining the players. And this appears to be the majority of humanity. And this is not for you to feel judged. This is for you to take a hard look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. What kind of activities do you partake in? And what is the result on your investment from those activities? How is your relationship when you look in the mirror? What does that reflection say back to you? How is the reflections in your relationships, in your family, in your life reflect back to you? And the more you're honest with yourself, the more you're going to become a fan of the greatest celebrity, the greatest athlete, the greatest being, which is you, and not you, the person that you think you are, but you, the consciousness that all is. So ask yourself as well, why is it that companies pay millions and millions of dollars for a 30-second spot on a Super Bowl? Because the commercials actually represent the collective consciousness of the planet. People get paid millions of dollars to study the collective consciousness and from there create commercials based on the current paradigm, the perspective, the beliefs, and the awareness of how one sees oneself in society. So when you see our commercials, this is why I love watching commercials. Commercials identify where a lot of the collective is at, because they're not going to promote commercials that doesn't get your attention. And why does it get your attention? Because you're fixated on that external pleasure, that external success, that external validation or value or recognition. Because people in the workforce will work harder for value than they will for money. I'm going to say that again. It is known in the workforce, in the 9 to 5, in the corporate, in any kind of employment, people will work harder for recognition than they will for money. Meaning their ego, their rep is much more important about their current situation. So they will work hard for kudos instead of for recognition and value of who they are, not of who they perceive to be. So my question to you is this. Do you want to do what you've always done? And this is an invitation to our group, Gardeners of Higher Consciousness. Because if you look at what is happening, we just had the planetary alignment of 7 planets. And we made it a big, big, big deal. And we shared with you, if you watched the live, that there's something much greater happening inside of every single one of us that is greater than all the planets aligning at the same time. When you tune into what is always ever present here now. Because this is only a holographic projection, or you could see it like a virtual projection, like your metaverse, like you see your phone in your TV screen. This is the greater, more advanced technological projection that we think is real. But we deny and we avoid responsibility of what is in between these ears and what is underneath into the heart. We avoid that responsibility as a collective. So, if this is you, I say this from love. If you're going to watch the Super Bowl, or if you're going to partake into any activity, and you're really not getting value from that activity, I mean, yeah, for 2 hours you're feeling great, you're feeling excited, and then when the game's over, even if your team won, you're going back to normal day-to-day life. You're going back to your old identity. You're going back to who you think you are, even though your team won. So the Super Bowl, as great as a sport of people coming together collectively, bringing their talents, gifts, and abilities, and facing their perceptual, mental, and physical fears and limitations, and transcending that, that's what we see in the Super Bowl. Because imagine how much fear they had to transcend and overcome. It's evidence that we can accomplish many things. But how is this serving you? How is this serving you to be a fan of something external, which you can enjoy your cake and eat it too? But I'm asking, where is the number one fan of yourself? And I'm not talking about your little self. I'm talking about your true self. How do you speak to yourself? How do you celebrate yourself? And how deeply are you honest with yourself? Because this is what we're going to gather on February 9th. For those of you that are willing to sacrifice the Super Bowl as a devotion to your true self and say, you know what? I'm going to not watch the Super Bowl. I'm going to tune in. And the goal is to unite us as universal star beings. Because imagine how planetary alignments work. So can you imagine as humans align in a time where there's going to be 122 million eyes or identities, personalities, stories, perspectives, aligning, watching one program to be programmed that success, pleasure, happiness, fulfillment is found on a screen. We're going to go within. And we're going to dive deep so that we can align the star systems that we are. And we can reawaken the Super Bowl within us. That feeling, that ecstatic feeling that we're searching for outside, it's truly found within. And I used to be a football fan. And I don't have anything against sports, but I don't find it entertaining. I mean, congratulations to those that, devoted their every breath, their every waking moment to be the best versions of themselves physically and mentally as an athlete that has inspired children and other people to stay out of gangs, to stay off drugs, to stay off. So it served a great purpose. But my question to you, is it serving you the purpose that you feel that you're calling in your life, that you've been praying, that you've been hoping, that you've been begging, that you've been asking so desperately for? Going in circles, feeling sick and tired, punching in a clock, or getting up and feeling no purpose in life. We ask ourselves, why do we feel this way? We ask ourselves, why do we feel unfulfilled? Why do we feel empty? Why do we feel so lost and confused? And then at the same time, because we feel so lost and confused, we're susceptible to the outside programming or entertainment of the media, of the news, of societal events and things like that, that we feel like we don't even have freedom of our own identity, our own consciousness. Because we ask ourselves, why do we get upset so easily? Why do we get depressed so easily? Why do I get sad so easily? Why do I feel like I don't even have control or a sense of awareness of my energy, emotions, thoughts, perspectives, and beliefs? So what I'm getting at is when we watch the commercials, we see how, and I say this with love, yet in honest observation, we see the commercials getting more silly and more sarcastic and more like in your face, saying you are not intelligent. We are not seeing collectively humanity's intelligence. And then we wonder why we place these responsibilities on others. We blame our parents. We blame our partners, our spouses, our children. We blame our friends. We blame society. We blame the church. We blame the government. We blame the military. But we won't look in the mirror. And we won't take honest responsibility that we can shift that paradigm within ourselves. We don't have to wait for an alignment outside of us. I'm just leveraging and taking advantage of this. So if you desire to unite with us, this was an inspiration for me to share with you all that the Gardeners of Higher Consciousness is here. And we're going to come together, our energies, our consciousness. We're going to do what's already been doing, but we're going to do it consciously so we could take responsibility within one another as the one within each other and really bring the paradigm shift in our relationships, in our families, in our communities, in our society. And this is going to ripple effect in more ways than you can ever even imagine. And we have the leverage that all the energies are conjoining in this moment, and it's barely beginning. So for those of you that are not willing to face your fears, they're going to be projected right in front of your face. So this is something that we cannot avoid, and you're starting to see this more and more and more. And we are shifting a paradigm of a reality of fear to a reality of love, of awareness, a reality of ignorance, a reality of blame and shame and guilt, to a reality of awareness, of truth, of wisdom, of love, of intelligence, instead of intellect, chasing the tail like a dog chasing its tail with the intellect. No matter how much you chase the intellect, you're going to come right back to square one, and you're going to ask yourself, I still don't know who I am. And I say that from personal experience. So, February 9th, I don't know the time because I don't watch sports. I don't watch any sports. Like, much love and respect to those of you that are dedicating your life to be the greater version of yourself. But let me ask you, even then, is it enough? Is it enough? Or after you play the game, because I've been there, maybe not to that degree, but no matter what you achieve, it's like after you achieve it, it's like, okay, I could have done better. And this is good because it's evolution, but there's also a place that you ask yourself, why is it never enough? It's like the more you eat, the more hungrier you get. The more you drink, the more thirstier you get, especially if you drink soda, especially if you eat junk food. You'll never be satisfied because you're not getting those nutrients. You're not getting those quality ingredients, which is awareness, which is love, which is consciousness, which is intelligence, which is intuition, which is understanding, which is the divine perspective of the imagination that you have to co-create a reality that from a deep place of love you create. Because if we don't work within that part of ourselves, we're going to create from fear and not even realize it. And then we're going to be part of the problem instead of the solution. So if you would like to be part of the solution, please message us. We're here to serve. And what is the lesson here? That we've done everything outside of ourselves. And ask yourself, really ask yourself, what have you invested so many years? What have you invested so much of your time, your energy, your attention? And what is the results? Not of what you physically have, not of the people that celebrate you and applaud you and all of these different things, but what is the relationship between your ears? What are those thoughts that you think that nobody can hear? And maybe you put on a mask and you act like everything's okay. It's time to shatter that mask and to realize the truth of who you are. So when you're really honest with yourself, when we are really honest with ourselves, this is the greatest relationship, because there's no other relationship outside of this that's going to be enough if we don't fill our cup first. So if you're tired of being sick and tired, and you're exhausted, and maybe you can't sleep at night, maybe you don't trust anyone, and you believe that mantra keeps you safe. Trust no one. Don't even trust your partner. Oh, I gotta be prepared. I gotta, what was Michael's mantra? I gotta expect the worst. No. Expect the unexpected, but prepare for the worst. That was Michael's mantra. And if that sounds like your mantra, that you're always in survival, you're always in stress, you're always full of anxiety, wondering what tomorrow is going to bring, not able to let go of the past, going in circles within your own mind and wondering if there's something wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you. Let me tell you right now, there's nothing wrong with you. It's only the relationship that you have with the mechanism that you've been gifted as the most advanced, beautiful, divine created being. You're a being of the universe. You're not just a being of this body. So this is your invitation. This is your call to action. To join us on February 9th. So DM me if you're interested. Please share this video with others as well. And if you would love to continuously experience this, not just on February 9th, but align with yourself each and every single day and make life your call to action every single day, your bliss, your nirvana, your natural high beyond all the highs that you can experience, then message me, because you can get started today. That's how simple, that's how effective, and that's how magical you are. And if you would like to cultivate a great relationship, when you look in the mirror, it's not what you do outside of you that makes you who you are. It's not how much you serve outside of you that's going to be fulfilling. Those things are great. But it's going to be the relationship of how you perceive from your own conscious that you bring to your conscious mind of what you perceive in the mirror is what's going to reflect on the mirror of your life. And this, my friends, is that you can live your heaven on earth now. And I'm not just speaking words. I'm speaking truth that I didn't just read in a book. My wife, our students, more and more live this each and every single day. This is your opportunity. This is the knock on the door of your heart. But only you can open it. And you'll realize in there, in that space, we are one. So thank you for watching. And again, I'll be sharing much more on this. And we'll see you on the day of the Super Bowl. And for you that enjoy watching football or sports or anything like that, you're free to do whatever you want. I'm not bashing what you do. I'm asking, or even the athletes, you can invest 20, 30 years into that personality that you think is going to make you happy. But if you're not aligned with it in the process, then it's never going to be enough. So, I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. I'm asking if you can align who you are in the dream that you think is real to the reality of the truth of who you are. So, this is Michael, along with my wife Alice. We are signing off with Samadhi, Sea of Wisdom Meditation School, and the One Love Vibrillionaire, Vibrillionex High Vibe Life. So if you want to take your life to the next level, what are you waiting for? Reach out. And until then, as always, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember who you truly are.